Thank you very much for agreeing to this interview.
Thank you.
Please tell me about your early days. How have they shaped you into the person you are today?
Well, I'm originally Italian, and I would say my parents have been, and my grandmother, they've been obviously very influential in my journey. I grew up with my grandmother. She was very tough, very humble, and also very simple. And my mom was a teacher, so I always learned very early the importance of education from her, and also I would say how to look for opportunities in a way. And my dad was working for the National Railway, so I come from a very normal family in Italy. And my dad, I remember, he always told me, look, every job has dignity. As long as it's honest and you work hard, it doesn't matter what you do in your life. If you have a job, and it's pretty much in line with what I see with FII, invest in dignity. Right? So, but really, I think that is the foundation.
So do you believe that this shift is happening or has already happened from the west to the east and from the north to the south?
Yes, I think it's happening. Obviously, you have countries like China that are not doing as great as they were doing a decade ago. China today, and we are an investor there, for example, you have lots of issues on the property market, and there is probably too much leverage, but there is lots of leverage in the US as well, right? But definitely you have, emerging economies. You look at India is really booming now, Modi just won, or Brazil, we are here in Brazil, and I think Lula is doing a great job, the country. We're very bullish on Brazil, for example. We are looking at opportunities here. So I think the shift is happening. And if you think about it, probably close to 90% of the global population live in global south, right? So it's an important factor. You always look at demographics as an investor as well.
What else do you find in Brazil that makes you bullish?
I think people, we invest in human capital. So obviously, LATAM, we're very bullish on LATAM because of the middle class story. Brazil and Mexico, you have the same population of US, right? If you combine Brazil and Mexico, and so you have over 200 million people, and the middle class is probably, up to half of that. It's there are different. Definition of middle class. Some say that it's from $5 to $7 to $15 up to $70 a day, right? So that's kind of the definition. But I think here people really is human capital, and then I think valuations. I think it's attractive. If we look, for example, at infrastructure, we look at logistics, we look at financials. You have some great talent, great entrepreneurs. Just think on the fintech, probably one of the best fintech in Latin America, and definitely globally is Nubank. So I think it's been a great success story, and we were lucky to be an investor as well.
And how do you navigate through the economic uncertainties of the global south?
You need to be local, I think. I was lucky because I started my career in London, after Milan, and then US, but always with a bias towards emerging markets. So I always was biased towards emerging markets in even frontier markets. And we've been in Panama over 15 years, so it's been a good hub for us for Latin America. So we have a team in many countries in Latin America. And I think it's important to speak the language, to speak Spanish, to speak Portuguese, to understand the culture. Because it's never, and it applies also to my journey. It's never a straight line, right? It's always it's up and downs, and lots of embarrassment, lots of failures, and you need to live with that, right? So I think the most important thing is to have a local team, to understand the culture, to experience probably, to live there if possible. And then to understand that each market is different, so you need also to adapt to that, and to be patient. I would say you need to be. We are very long-term investors, so things don't happen overnight. You need you have cycles, and you need to be patient. Yes.
Please tell me about your philanthropic work, where you invest a lot of time.
Yes, I always thought that the reason why you want to focus on making money is to give it away. If you have other reason, probably you are for example, if you think that you want to be on a Forbes list, and I was telling Forbes last week, you already lost, because it's a rat's race. There's always somebody who has more than you, always somebody who has less than you, and actually, if you do it for your ego, and we work with schools and with kids, and you ask them what are the top names, they probably remember Zuckerberg because of Facebook, or Bill Gates, but they wouldn't know the rest, right? They have no idea, they don't care. So the reality is that you need to inspire kids, and I think that that's your only legacy. My legacy are my kids and the kids we can inspire. So with my wife, we started pretty early before we got married. And with our foundation, now we've been working with over 10,000 kids, and we partner with other foundations that have already an existing business model that is working well, that is sustainable, that is long-term. For example, we started with the Global Dignity, which was started by a good friend, Prince Haakon of Norway.
Speaking of dignity.
Yes, we're talking about dignity again, and then from there we were the first company, for example, to join Tent.org in Latin America. It was founded by another great entrepreneur and good friend, Hamdi Ulukaya. He's the founder of Chobani, the yogurt, and so we've been hiring actually lots of refugees in our companies, because they are a great resource, and again, also they're about dignity. You have people that actually are very hungry, they want to work hard, and they deserve to have a job, right? And they deserve to be promoted, right? Because I believe meritocracy. And so with my wife now, we are partnering with different universities. One I'm on the board of is the board of trustees at the University of San Diego, California. And we partner with Oxford and others, and really we are looking to do 5,000 scholarships for computer science, AI. And we partner also with lots of artists. For example, in our region, one year we took the kids to see some museum abroad. They were painting Modigliani style. They met the Pope. So the idea is that really how we can inspire them, and they can be the next generation.
From all the things you have done professionally and in your philanthropic world,
yes,
what do you think is the one that has had the most impact on humanity?
I definitely think our foundation. So really really if you can touch even one single soul, and as I was telling we were in orphanages with my son, and my son was asking why I don't have a father, and I told them I didn't know what to say because it was a very tough situation, and I came up with because he's in an age where he loves superheroes, so he likes Iron Man, and so I said, and so I read him stories at night, and I found out that most of the superheroes don't have a father. So I came up with an idea. I said, well, because they're a superhero, and I said, if you're a good guy and a good kid, and you're generous, you share your toy with them, and you also can become a superhero. And so he's often jealous about his toys, right, with his sister. And actually, I saw him, giving his Iron Man to this kid, right? So it was very beautiful. I was crying, it was a very beautiful moment. And so I think that this is what I'm really proud of. I think that really, if I can raise my kids in a good way, and I can also inspire other kids to do great things and to dream big, and really to work hard and really try to achieve what they want to achieve, right? So I think this is my goal as an entrepreneur, and in a way is reflected on what we do with my wife with our philanthropy.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.